Welcome back to the Who's Right podcast, and we made it back from London with a split and a week long of. We went 4-1 this week. Do we believe in this team? I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but before we get started, before we even get going, hey, subscribe to the channel, like this video, start commenting, let us know how you're feeling. And Victor, how you doing?
I'm doing great. You got to believe. You have to believe. This is the motto of the Mets. You got to believe in this team. You got to believe that there's something. And look, with the new rules and I know everyone, we don't like to hear this, but we're only 3 games back from the wild card. We go into this week and we sweep Miami, and we end up above, right around 500 by the wild card. I mean, by the All Star break, we're right back in it. And listen, we didn't play bad baseball, but I think we can all agree this team has some things to work on. And I think that these are things that can be addressed at the trade deadline. So it's just one of those things that we have to believe as Mets fans. We gotta hang in there.
I don't know if we if
Listen,
we if we gotta believe in this team. I don't
no,
know.
but listen, man, it's better to be rooting for a team than to tear it all down this early in the season. I want something to root for, and the Mets are giving me something to root for right now. And so I'm not going to be the Debbie Downer and say we're not going anywhere. Let's sell off all our pieces, because I want this team to compete, and I know this team can compete. They just play bad baseball. I don't think they're a bad team. We've seen that this past week. They're not a bad team. They just play really bad baseball sometimes.
It's kind of the definition of a bad team, but I get what you're saying. Luckily we split in Philadelphia. We didn't actually get to talk about the Washington series, but we swept down in Washington, and like I said, we were on a 4-1 week, and so that can be a recipe for optimism. But as we saw this weekend, also there are a lot of concerns too. Let's get to the game on Saturday. Let's break the game down. And before we get to our concerns, let's just break the game down and talk about it. On Saturday, we had Mania pitching, and I mean, I know Sterling Marte looked like he could have had that ball. You know what I mean? I know it looked like he could have, given a little extra effort to catch that ball. But at the end of the day, Mania doesn't have to give up that home run right afterwards, right? And so, Mania's got to do better. He's got to be better. And that's going to be the theme of our starting pitching this weekend, right? They got to be better. Because these are guys that are either going to stay here for the rest of the year, or they're going to be trade pieces. So they actually have to do better because the one thing that the Mets do have is that they do have pitching that can come up from the minors, right? They got Budo, they got Scott, they got some other young guys that are burning to get up here, and so these guys, whether we're in the race or not, some of these guys are trade pieces regardless. And so Manaya's got to do better. Manaya, is a guy that should be looking to be placed on a different team. Should be looking to pitch better, so he gets traded to a better team, to a team that has a shot to do serious damage in the playoffs. So he's got to pull it together. He's got a few more starts before we get to the trade deadline. Probably about 3 or 4 starts. I'm not sure exactly how many starts he'll have, but he's got to do better. And Marte's got to do better. Marte's got to catch that ball. I know he's had a couple hits in the game, but he's got to be able to catch that ball. He's got the speed for it, so he's got to be able to get to that ball.
Yeah, it's one of those things, yeah, that you can point the fingers at whoever you want to, and you probably be right. Sean Manaea shouldn't have given up that home run right after. Starling Marte definitely should have caught that ball, and he's made a lot of those plays throughout this year where he's just letting balls drop. He's not really putting an effort out there in right field, and I know that he's an old man, but He's still playing he's still playing baseball, and I know that at this point in his career, he probably thinks he's not getting another contract, and so he's playing this one out and 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 putting in minimal effort is what it seems like. But I don't want to say that about Marte because I know that he puts in a lot of effort. Um, Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's something that's hurting him and not making him feel comfortable because we've seen him put in effort earlier in the season. And I think he, as well as Manaya, knows that they're going to be traded if the team doesn't do better. And I think he would want to go to a better team and compete because, like I said, he is getting old, and this is might be his last chance to win a World Series. And so I would imagine that he has to play better, or he has to put in more effort in those plays. But Manaya, it just like we said before about his starts. He doesn't have like that put away pitch. It seems like he's getting in these at bats where he can get up on the in the count 0-2 and then work his way back to 2-2, 3-2. But he's not able to strike these guys out or get them to pop out or fly out, and it's hurting him in the long run because it's forcing him to give pitches where they're gonna need to be put him in play. And when you're facing a Phillies team that's red hot and the best team in baseball, they're going to hurt you. And that's what happened here. And Manaya is working himself into that player option where he's going to stay with the Mets. And we saw how the Mets handle these situations. And we can even talk about that more with how they're going to handle Quintana because he hasn't looked great either. But it looks like they're in the same boat as pitchers where they don't have the best stuff and they're just trying to hang in there in games. But we still have to believe in Manaya. I think he still has the stuff. I think he can bounce back, and he's shown us that he's gotten a lot better from where he was. And maybe this is just a formula for this Phillies team, because like you said, if Marte catches the ball, he's out of that inning, and who knows how much longer he goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Ranger, we missed opportunities on Ranger. Ranger didn't look as sharp as, and I think we had a chance to jump on him on a couple at bats, and we didn't take advantage of it. And that's not something that we can afford to do. I know you said we're a team that's competitive, but we're a team that can't give up opportunities, and we gave up a lot of opportunities in that game one in Philadelphia. So let's put a bow on it. And Manaya's got to do better. Marte's got to get to that ball, and who knows what happens after that. On to game two, and then there's a story of the weekend. Our pitchers cannot go late into games for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Quintana goes 3 and 2/3 innings, and so he doesn't even make it out of the fourth. And I know the bullpen was rested, but we're right back to overworking them, and we basically saw it in this game that we almost lost this game because they were trying to stretch Reed Garrett out for another 3 outs. And he got through inning and a third, I believe, and then we tried to stretch him out again for another 3 outs, and we saw what happened. He's getting overused, and I know Mendoza is in a tough spot, because our pitching doesn't go deep in the games. But some of the moves were kind of questionable when it comes to the bullpen, like leaving in Nunez a batter too long, right? Instead of bringing in Diekman. Luckily, Philadelphia, sometimes you rather be lucky than good, and, and Philadelphia gave us this game. And we'll take it because they kind of imploded in the ninth, kind of Mets like, and they gave us this game. So and we'll take it because we'll take that split.
I don't know if they gave us this game. I think we fought tooth and nail to get back into this game, and I think we won it outright. Even though there were some decisions that probably shouldn't have been made by Mendoza, or decisions that should have been made by Mendoza rather, and situations that he probably could have done better in. But at the end of the day, his pitching doesn't help him any when he's when they both go 4 innings, not even 4 innings sometimes, and you have to fill out the rest of your rotation or rest of the game going on guys that you're trying not to stress out because we saw Adrian Hauser the day before, and he only pitched a couple of innings in that game and was able to get them through a couple, but they still had to use a couple of relievers there, and in that game too, we almost gave the Phillies a heart attack by leaving the bases loaded when JD Martinez grounded into a double play. So same situation, literally just the next day with the closer game, and um, I don't know, man. I just feel like we're not making things easy for Mendoza. I don't think he's the problem. I think these decisions that he's making are genuinely the best that he can with what he's got. I don't think he's trying to overwork guys like Drew Smith. I don't think he wanted to see him in that game because he's just coming off of injury, and to pitch him in a high stress situation like that is tough. But also, Rick Garrett can't pitch 3 innings in a row. I know he only pitched, one and a or two and a third or something like that, but that's just when we're in the type of relief roles that we are, we see that Rick Garrett is either going to be a long man. You can't do them both. He can't be a high leverage guy towards the end of the game and a long man at the same time. You have to choose one. Either he's going to get you those long innings, or he's going to get you those high leverage outs. And in this situation, he didn't get that, but we did get lucky. But Luis Torrens is really shined out in this game, not only with his defense, but with his bat as well, because he's been hitting the ball left and right. He's making a case for himself to stay in this lineup once Francisco Alvarez returns, and we'll see how that works. But Luis Torrens, man, he saved the game for us, and man, what a dirty slide at the end of that game. That's just the Phillies for you, though, right?
Yeah, that slide. The guy, was out. Obviously legal slide, but you still don't want to see it. At the end of the day, you take out Torrens like that, and you can cost them an injury and stuff like that when it's not and you were out anyways. I know you're probably trying to break up the double play. But at the end of the day, it's not something that you want to see because it was an improbable double play. It's not something that they were trying to. It's not something that you see all the time, right? 2-2-3 double play. That doesn't happen. And he made an incredible play and almost. Would have been a black eye if he would have came out hurt in that at the end of the game.
Yeah, no, that's very frustrating to see. But in the end, we come out with the split in London. Man, I'm glad that we don't have to play on turf anymore because that turf was bouncing up and down, bouncing those balls, even giving Jeff McNeil some hits that he probably didn't deserve. And but it was a fun time to see those guys play, and they're coming back. One other note from this game was Mark Vientos got his feet. Brett Beatty got into the game. He got a hit. He wasn't there long, but in his pressers with the media, he was grateful for the opportunity to be there. He's doing really well in AAA, so I think it's a matter of time that we see Brett Beatty back in the major leagues. But right now, Mark Vientos is still tearing the cover off the ball. He still had a great series in London, and I just can't wait to see Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos play at the same time. And it might be sooner rather than later, but let's just hope it's later. Because he also talked about how he's putting in some reps at second base, and who knows, he could be a second baseman here in the future. Let's just keep on working on his stuff. He likes having that defensive versatility option for him, and I think that's going to work out in the long run.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And talking about second base, our buddy Yuki's listening and with us and talking about second base. This is one of the concerns, right? McNeil might be out of a job soon if he doesn't start producing. And so, obviously he went 2 for 4 yesterday and had a good game. So maybe this burns a little fire under Jeff McNeil, and we start seeing the Jeff McNeil that we're used to seeing. Because at the end of the day, this regime has shown that the Mets aren't going to just be loyal just to be loyal. You have to be producing, and you have to be doing your part to stay in this lineup.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and we're all gonna have to we're gonna have to see repetition, or we're gonna have to see things going in a tandem with this lineup, because for JD Martinez to go 0 for 4 the game before really hurts this lineup, man. And I know that he's had a good series, a good year so far, but when in situations like that, when we really need him to step up, man, that hurts. And so all these guys need to get on the same page. And like you said, Jeff McNeil is one of the culprits for that. Obviously, he won. We won the game that he was in, but Jose Iglesias stayed at 4 games in a row, and I know that was situational where he faced 4 lefties in a row, but he provided a spark for them, and we have to really get on a run with these guys. So it can't just be we're trying to figure it out. This is the time to go. Shout out Yuki in the chat. He says we have to go 21-12 just to be a game over 500 by the trade deadline, and that's just that's ridiculous baseball that we have to play. And I think that the Mets can do it, but they can't do it with trying to figure these things out with guys like Jeff McNeil. And so they have to go with what's working right now, even if that means benching the guy until while you guys are hot, and keep on riding the hot bat, because I think that this is the time for the Mets to heat up.
Yeah, no, and I said it in the last video. This is the Mets gotta go on a serious run. Obviously, I said a 20-0 run, but that's not gonna happen. But they gotta go on a serious run to make me a believer. I know you said you're a believer, but to make me a believer, they gotta go on a serious run. I still think that we're looking to sell some pieces. You talked about Brett Beatty and Vientos playing together. And the only way I see that happening, other than Jeff McNeil struggling, is trading JD Martinez.
What's interesting about that though is that Stearns does think that Beatty's going to be up at some point during the season, and that's kind of like a hint. I feel like that he thinks that we're going to sell pieces like that so that they can both play at the same time. So that's just a little hint from David Stearns over this past week, giving us a little hint about what his thoughts are.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we can still compete and strive for a playoff team, a wild card team. That last wild card spot. We're not too far away, even though we're under 500. We're not too far away. But at the end of the day, we're fighting for the last wild card spot. Why not let the young guys fight for the last wild card spot and let them get on a run and let them feel this and let them get some energy and some hunger for next year when we really want to compete, right? This year is still a trial period for Stearns, right? He's still seeing what he has. I believe that we can still compete and still be a very entertaining team with the right expectations, right? When we have all these veterans on a team, we expect better, right? We expect them to be a better team, and they've shown they're a 500 team or below, right? So why not do it with young guys? And that's my point. It's not that I don't want to see a good team or I don't want to see my team winning. I just want to have the right expectations, and to see the young guys playing out there, getting that experience, fighting it out, and maybe go on a playoff run because Lindor's going to be here, right? Lindor's going to be here. He's not getting traded, and Nimmo's going to be here. He's not getting traded. So at the end of the day, you got guys like Marte, JD Martinez, Manaya, Quintana, all those guys that aren't going to be here next year, most likely, right? And so all those guys need to be traded. need to be traded regardless of where we are in July, whether we're fighting for a spot or not. I still believe they should be traded because Vientos has shown he could take JD Martinez's spot at this point, right? And we could see Brett Beatty work it out on his own without pressure. You know what I mean? Without all this pressure of having to perform. Sometimes that pressure to having to perform as a young guy gets in your head just because it does. You know what I mean? And why do we want to ruin one of our prospects on a team that's not going to really compete?
Yeah, absolutely. And with those young guys, like you mentioned, Luis Angel, he's not been hitting well, and it really hurts because Jet Williams is also undergoing surgery where he'll be back until August. So that kind of puts a wrinkle in things where we don't know if we're going to have these guys available for when we sell off these pieces. And that's why it's so crucial for Brett Beatty to be able to play at second base so that he can get in there. Even now, and we want to have a perfect mix of those young guys and those veterans. Like you said, Brandon Nimmo and Francisco Lindor will be here to stay. But I don't know about these other guys and how much of a value that they'll actually provide. Marte doesn't seem like he's got his head on straight. Jeff McNeil, we've talked about. JD Martinez seems like he's focused on himself a lot of the time in his hitting. But I won't say that to an extent because he does want to win, and I think that he'll win wherever he goes. But at the end of the day, we might need a change up. Yuki in the chat says that we need a culture change, and we felt that for a while, even since the raccoon squirrel incident 2021. We felt that we really needed a culture change, and it could all start with one piece. It could all start with just bringing back those one piece. We're trying to figure it out. It seems like we're always trying to figure it out. We got rid of Eduardo Escobar last year. Thought that bringing up Brett Beatty would be that change. We got rid of Omar Narvaez this year, thinking that that would be the change. And we keep on getting rid of these pieces, but it doesn't seem like we're getting rid of the right piece to create that change of culture. So let's just we have to, like you said, we have to figure it out. I think that we're best suited with the team that we have now, that we put out each and every day. But I'd like to see different approaches in terms of the aggressiveness of this team because we have the talent, man. We have the guys that can compete. We're putting up runs each and every day. But this goes into my next concern, which is the pitching. I'm ready to see some of these pitching pieces like kind of either discarded or traded or what have you, because we're at a point where we can't have these guys only go 4 or 5 innings each and every time out. Guys like Sean Manaea and Jose Quintana seem like if we're trying to win, they should. It seems like they should have their jobs in jeopardy at this point, especially at Jose Quintana, where he's on his last year of his contract, and he needs to prove it. He's an old guy. He doesn't have great stuff. He needs to be able to locate stuff to be good. And we have guys down in the farm ready to come up. Guys like Jose Budo, guys like Joey Lucchesi that had, he didn't do so great, but Jose Budo did. We got guys that are coming back from injury soon enough. I don't know when Kodak Singh is going to come back, but guys that like Brandon Sproat, I don't know how much we want to push him, but later on, he could be a good bullpen piece if we do push for playoffs. And so we have the pieces that are available, but I don't want to hang on to these guys politically because they're taking so much on our payroll.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's why the question is, when do we sell? Right? It's not if. I don't think it's an if. I think it's when, and that's why I'm calling for guys like Quintana and Manaya to start stepping up and give us a couple good outings in a row to show that they do have it, so they become trade pieces because right now they're not valuable trade pieces, and we're not going to see a change in the rotation, especially with those two guys. Those are veteran guys, with some history. All they got to do is show a little bit of life, and there'll be plenty of teams that are going to want them and want them on their team. And again, I'm ready to even let go of Pete. Pete's another guy that we've been talking about the culture. honestly, sometimes the only way to change the culture is to, completely um, change most of the players in the locker room, and that's including a Pete. I know that's not a popular opinion out there, but if Yentos continues to hit, he can play first base, right? And so that's a thing that can happen, and that'd be the other thing that can happen is seeing Vientos and Beatty playing, and it's because Pete's not here, right? So it's something that the Mets need to consider because the way it's going. Um, it's not like Pete's producing in a way that's keeping us afloat, right? Some games he has a good game, but for a lot of games he's not non-existent. So
Yeah, and I don't want to say goodbye to Pete just yet. I think he still has time in Queens. He loves it here. He's created himself a home, and I really do believe in the off season we do sign him back. If we even if we trade him, I think that he comes back and sets all the records for power hitting that the Mets have to offer. And we've won with him before. I think that there's other teams that or other pieces that can be addressed. I hate to see Pete go, um, and but it's gonna take a run. It's gonna take a run for us to keep him um, here in Queens, and it's not going to happen if we just keep on playing the same baseball we've been playing. We need to be better. We need to play to a competitive level so that we uh, can get back into this playoff run and keep Pete Alonso in Queens.
yeah, no, I love Pete. So it's not like I want him to go, but I think it might be a necessity for this team to turn the corner. It's not something that I want seeing. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to overpay for Pete as well. You know what I mean? He's not showing the bat that will require that high contract that he's looking for. And maybe he's one of those that he signs a 1 year to get that contract. I don't know, but that's a conversation for another time. But it's one of those things that we need to start talking about what pieces that we're going to be selling off here soon because it's getting late early, like they say, and it's about that time where we need to start thinking about this. We're in the middle of June. July's only a few weeks away, and it's time. It's time to be thinking about this. So. Um, Another concern is you kind of brought it up. Kodai Senga is working his way back, but it seems like he keeps getting a setback. And we want to see him healthy. Luckily, we got the pitching depth. Not the quality of Kodai Senga, but we got the depth to cover for Senga. But we need Senga to come back. There's enough of this. Not pitching. We went through this last year with Quintana. If Quintana would have pitched all season last year because he pitched well last year. If he didn't have that first year, the scare and was out for the first half of the year. It might have been a different season last year, and same thing this year with Senga. Not having him for the first half of the season kind of hurts. And who knows, with him and Severino at the top of the rotation, this whole team might have looked different. And our opinions, at least my opinion, would have been different about this team if maybe Senga was available all year.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle. Like I said, I think he comes back after the All Star break, gives him enough time to recover, get some rehab starts in, and to come back to full form. Because at the end of the day, we don't want half. We don't want half of Kodai Senga. We want the whole thing, and we know that we can be a competitive, even more competitive team when he comes back. And it's a matter of time. We just have to keep our head above water. Kodai Senga won't matter this year if we don't make the playoffs. That's been my opinion from the start, and that's still my opinion. I think that the starting pitchers, although they haven't gone deep, right now what we have, um, because who would you kick off the starting rotation? You would kick off either Tyler McGill or David Peterson, and both of those guys have pitched pretty well. Sean Manaea and Jose Quintana are the guys that haven't pitched that well, and those are the guys that have been losing us games. And not so much Sean Manaea. Jose Quintana has won us a couple of games. Just that it's just recency bias that has gotten us to say these things. But I think that we can still win and be competitive without Kodai Senga. But if it comes to this point where we're pushing for playoffs, then we really need to see him back in this rotation. So it is a concern. But at the end of the day, it's also great because that means we're going to have him for another 5 years, right? So this injury means that he's not going to reach his minimum requirement of innings pitched, and we get to keep him on contract. And so hopefully this is not a trending thing. I would think that he's had a long history of being hurt, and so let's just hope that he gets back on track and 100% so that he comes back healthy. But one more guy that's coming back this series is Francisco Alvarez, and that's someone that I'm excited to see back in this rotation or back in this lineup.
Yeah, we should see him this week. I know he had to go back to Venezuela to take care of some family stuff, and that kind of delayed his progress. But hopefully, it doesn't delay it too long, and we see him sooner rather than later. And so, yeah, so let's move on and preview the next series. I hope we keep it going. Like I said, it's one of those things that. I believe whether we're in it or not, we should get rid of these pieces. I do want to see my team win, and I want to see our us going to run. And what better than to play the Miami Marlins? And we'll get started with game one tomorrow. It's going to be Luzardo and McGill. Obviously Luzardo's their best pitcher right now, and who knows how long he's going to stay on the Marlins. But it should be another stepping stone for McGill to continue to grow and show the pitcher that he can be, like he did a couple starts already. And then game two, we got Garrett and Peterson, kind of two pitchers we just got done talking about, right? Peterson continued to um, kill the strike zone, right? Attack the strike zone. Sorry. And as long as they do that, they get deep into games. And so, love to see that. And then on Thursday to finish out the series, we got Munoz and Severino. That's another. We should if not sweep the series, at least take 2 out of 3 out of from Miami, because the pitching matchups I think are in our favor.
They should be, but those two guys pitching game one and game two are going to um, really be the determining factor. We have to hope for David Peterson and Tyler McGill to pitch deep into these games because, like we talked about before, I don't think our bullpen is fully rested. Yeah, they got a day off, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be at 100%. And so we're only going to have a couple of guys that I think should be available for game one. And that's really going to rely on Tyler McGill to pitch far. But if you remember last time, Jesus Luzardo kind of carved us up. So we have to be able to attack him early. He's a really good pitcher that's had some bad luck this season, but I think he's hittable. And last time we had a disappointing series in Miami, so this is one to get back in the win column. If we win these first two games, then that's a guaranteed sweep, in my opinion. And that's really what we need right now, because like Yuki talked about before, like we talked about in the chat, if we don't get on a run now, then we're sitting in a we're basically going insane, saying that letting this team kind of pull us back in to believing that we're a playoff team, and so it starts now. We talked about it starting now, but really, if we don't win at least 2 games in this series, uh, and at least sweep this series, then that's not going to get any Mets fans' hopes up, and that's going to be calling everybody to sell by the trade deadline.
Yeah, no, just like Yuki's saying, man, fried fish is on the menu, and let's take care of business in Miami. So let's get to the players of the game. Who since we skipped a video, I'm gonna let you go first. Let us get us started again. Who's your Mets standout of the series?
Yeah, I really liked how Lindor is playing in that leadoff spot. He's playing really aggressively, and he's been playing so much better. It's really stinks because Brandon Nimmo has kind of fallen off since then, since we moved down. But I'm going to stick with Francisco Lindor. I think that he gets us started. He's been able to get these games started hot, and has made an impact on each and every one of these games that we've been able to score high runs in. And so, yeah, Francisco Lindor is going to have a great series this time.
Yeah, no. I mean, what did we talk about? We talked about Lindor in the leadoff spot in the offseason, right? This is where we wanted to see Lindor from the beginning. I'm not worried about Nimmo. You know, Nimmo has these stretches throughout the season. Every season. So I'm not worried about him. He's gonna produce he's gonna live up to the back of the baseball card. So I'm not worried about Nimmo. As a matter of fact, um, I'll go with Marky V, man. Marky V to continue the hot bat and make sure solidify his spot on the roster. Whether that's third base or in the future at in a DH or whatever, first base, whatever. But Mark Vientos is going to continue to produce.
He's got that charisma too. He seems like he fits in Queens, man. This seems like a guy that's here to stay. He's fought his way up and he deserves it. So that's a good pick by you. Um, you know, Yuki in the chat says Harrison Bader's going to have a great series because they're facing lefties. Let's hope so. He's also another guy that we always forget to talk about, who's building up his resume to be traded during the deadline or to be a big factor for us later on in the season. So, yeah, let's hope that Harrison Bader also has a great series. Let's hope that all these guys have a great series. From 1 to 9, from Lindor to Torres, or if we see Lorenz, or if we see Nito or Francisco Alvarez. I don't know where they're going to put him in, but we'll see. But from 1 to 9, we gotta get on these guys and hit in motion.
Well, and that's something that we didn't talk about. I mean, we could pause right here and talk about it. When how Alvarez comes back, who's the guy that's going to go? Is it going to be Nito or Terrence? Right? Terrence has supplied the spark. Nito has played well, and so but we did DFA Narvaez for Terrence. I don't know if that's something that we need to look into and saying that Nito's the guy on a chopping block. Um, but it's one of those things that I don't know. I believe that it's actually going to be Nito that's going to be DFA from the team, and not Terrence.
Well, it's interesting because Nito actually has an option to go back down to AAA, right? So he can.
I don't think
Uh,
so.
well, he started the year in AAA, and so I think that he's able to go down in AAA, and I think that's what they're probably going to do. I think they're going to send him down while Torrens is still hot and keep him here. And it stinks because Nito has been playing so well, but when you got a bat like Torrens and a defensive player like Torrens, where he can play literally the whole infield too, right? Or he can play first base in the outfield, I think. And so he gives you more defensive versatility. It just gives you more options, and it gives you opportunities to send guys like DJ Stewart down because he's not been great, and make room for other guys, and so we'll see. It's going to be interesting with how they address it. But that's another guy that you could see on on the chopping block is DJ Stewart because of the situation that we're in.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Ever since he's gotten his playing time cut, he's been a different player, and so it's unfortunate, but what can you do? Let's get to the pitching standout of the series. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna throw a wild card out there because the easy pick would have been Severino, but I'm not gonna go with Severino. I'm gonna go with David Peterson. He's gonna follow up that start that he had last, attacking the zone like he was, and we're going to see David Peterson kind of show what the pitcher that we all expected him to be. We all expected him to be a solid number two, and he's got the stuff to be it. And I think he's going to start showing that on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's a good pick by you. David Peterson, like we talked about, uh, is one of those guys that could be on the block. So he needs to play for his spot right now. Uh, he's got to go long. He's got to be, uh, you know, he's got to be consistent. But I'm going to go to the bullpen here, and I'm going to go with the guy that I think needs to step up to be our closer. Keith talked about this guy last time in our in Mets off day with SNY, and talked about how this guy needs to be our closer. And when Edwin Diaz is not here, he does need to be our closer. And so I think that Adam Ottavino needs to pitch well. He needs to get back into that spot, and hopefully we're not in a place that um, we need to have these close games and close them out. Hopefully we're blowing them out, but I feel like we will be in a situation where the game is going to be on the line, and Adam Ottavino is going to be called to save us some of these games.
No, I thought I was handing you Severino on a platter, and you're taking a picture that I was not expecting. So let's see what happens. If anybody in the bullpen stand out, I might have gone with Daniel Nunez or Young. But solid pick. Let's see who takes it. And so Yuki has Hauser. Ever since going into the bullpen, Hauser's a different pitcher. So it's great to see. That's kind of where, in the offseason we were talking about that he was going to replace the Trevor Williams role. And it looks like he's doing a good job right now of doing that. And so we want to see him continue to produce and be that long guy out of the bullpen and, take 2-3 innings here and there when our pitchers don't go deep. But who's your Mets killer? Who you got? I'm letting you go first.
Yeah, man, I think that man, it's always hard when you play a team that sucks. But I'll go with Josh Bell. Josh Bell, uh, he's he's also a power hitter. He's killed the Mets in the past. I think that he can have a good series against us. And yeah, there's not much more to say about that.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a team that we should sweep, right? And so, the lineup is not, murderer's row. We should take care of this lineup. And Yuki jumped the gun and he picked my guy Burger because that's the guy I'm picking is Burger. He's going to be a guy that's going to be, kind of a thorn, not the killer that we hope he's not, just a little thorn on the Mets side. But Berger's my guy as well with Yuki. We gotta. Um, I think I'm gonna take this one from the young Padawan because he had some questionable picks on this one. So what can you do, young Padawan? We'll keep learning and keep growing and notch this victory up to the veteran. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it going.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Jake Berger's kind of he looks like he eats too many burgers. So I'll see if he actually makes an impact in these games.
No, love it. Love to see it. But um, we kind of talked about it earlier. We're hoping to see Alvarez come back this week. We're talking about energy guys with Iglesias. Um, you know, Alvarez is another guy that produces a lot of energy and a guy that we need to come back. Because our team looked different once he went down. You know what I mean? And so not having him in the middle of the lineup kind of hurt us. I'm hoping for him to come back. Down at the farm, we have top performances over the weekend. Luis Angel went 2 for 5 in AAA. Ryan Clifford, ever since leaving Brooklyn and going to Binghamton, is kind of why the Mets wanted him out of Brooklyn, and he's showing the power now in Binghamton. Another home run over the weekend, and so it's you just love to see the young kids producing, and hopefully we'll see them soon. It's not something that Luis Angel. I don't know if we're gonna see. He's still. I forget who was talking about it, but you know how I wanted to see Luis Angel right away, but somebody said, he's just getting acclimated. He's just getting in the groove in AAA, and to all of a sudden switch him and bring him up here might slow his progress. And that might be true. So it's something that we might have to be patient with Luis Angel and not see him this year. And the other update with our young guys, Jet Williams got that operation, and he won't be on the field for another 8 to 10 weeks. So we won't see him probably till August.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Someone that shot out through the system last year to be down this year. His goal was to make the major leagues, and this would have been the year to do it. I really think that he would have had that chance to crack the major leagues. But now it gives a guy like Luis Angel a chance. But I don't know if I trust his abilities as much as I would have trusted Jet Williams. But how about our farm, man? How about our farm system? I think it was I can't remember who came out with the top 100 prospects halfway through the year, but the Mets have five of their guys in the top 100 now, and it's great to see guys like Brennan Sproat crack that top 100. You know, uh, Luis Angel, I think, fell off of that top 100, which is frustrating to see because he was doing so well. But Ronnie Mauricio is still on there, and you have other guys that are doing fairly well, Ryan Clifford included. And so it's good to see our farm do well. We'll see if we're either trading these guys or if we're building on them. But I don't know. We'll see. I think this week is really going to be telling on what the Mets do in the future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll continue to say it, whether we're in it or not. I still think a lot of these guys are trade pieces to not only continue to build our farm, but to let the young guys play and see and let them be in a pennant chase, right? So let's end it there. Nice, not too long, not too short video to get us going for this year for this series, and let's get just like Yuki said, let's get the fried fish on the menu and get that sweet. But remember, subscribe to the channel, like this video, continue to comment, even on replay. Let us know what you're thinking. And before we get out of here, Victor, any last words?
No, man, we got to get it going. This is my you're keeping my hopes alive, Mets. These Mets need to get on a roll. We need to get back in it. Come on. I want something. I want a good summer. I want a nice, fun summer. So, and I believe you guys can do it. So let's go Mets.
All right, y'all. Let's go Mets.